Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and now work on chapter 12. So, sorry, hold on. So, there we go. Sorry, my iPad was freezing up. Okay, so in chapter 12, we're going to be talking about the US customary and converting them with metric units. So, again, anything from these tables I will be giving to you guys because, again, these are just a bunch of different obscure measurements. So it's not like just the metric system when you could use the prefix line and just use multiples of 10. So I will give you this information, but of course, nonetheless, you'll still need to know how to use it. So please make sure you're practicing problems, watching these videos, and asking for help if needed. So in the US customary system, again, so that's basically in the United States what we're used to. So inches, feet, yard, miles, and in terms of length. For weight, usually pounds and ounces are the way we go about things, but then other countries and other places, even healthcare systems, may use kilograms. And then, of course, capacity. Remember, capacity is just, for example, volume. That is where quarts and fluid ounces come in. Okay, so let's do some more conversions. So we're going to have two examples: convert and round to one decimal place if necessary. So again, notice some of these have squiggly lines and not an exact equal sign. That means that it's an approximation of what it's equal to. So a lot of times, like for example, the 1 foot is approximately 0.305 meters. It's a much longer decimal than that. So that's why, again, I'll give you this information because these numbers aren't really that nice. And I would rather, excuse me, you guys know how to do it instead of being preoccupied with memorizing decimals. Okay, so for our first example, we want to figure out 4 meters is approximately how much of an equivalent measure in feet. Well, remember, you need your conversion factor. So this is where we'll have that 1 foot, though, is approximately 0.305 meters. So that is how we'll go ahead and begin. So we're going to go ahead and use the stoichiometry method. So with our fractions, and remember, you always start with what's given. So we have 4 meters over 1 times, and now our next fraction will be our conversion factor. So that is the equivalent measurement between them that will help us go from meter to the desired unit, which is feet. So remember, you have to ask yourself, well, if I want to get rid of meter, where on the next fraction how will we place our conversion factor? Well, if we want to get rid of meter, we want it to eventually cancel out. So that implies the 0.305 will go on the bottom and 1 foot will go on top. So notice, remember, with fractions, if you have the same thing on top and the same thing on bottom, that ends up canceling out. It divides out. And then from that point, notice we're left with feet, and that is the desired unit, but now you have to see what's left. Well, then we have, remember when fractions, we multiply the numerators together and the denominators together. So we have 4 times 1 foot, so that's 4 feet over 1 times 0.305. So now all we have left is this division here. And remember, you will need to know how to do division and multiplication if needed. So that is where, again, you want to go back to maybe a few chapters earlier. And in this case, 4 foot divided by 0.305 ends up becoming 3.1 feet. Again, we only have to round to one decimal place. So this is our final answer. And of course, if you have any questions on the division, please let me know. Now, in our next example, we want to go from 3 inches to how much in centimeters. So notice, though, again, we need a conversion factor. We're going from inch to centimeter. So that implies this will be our conversion factor. This will help us, since this is an equivalent measure. For every 1 inch, that is the same thing as 2.54 centimeters. So that is how we'll figure out, well, not just 1 inch, but now 3 inches. 1 second. Okay, so remember for your first fraction, you always start with what's given, and what's given is 3 inches. So from that point, that is now where we'll set up our conversion factor. And remember, we want inches to cancel out. So out of these two, you have to properly place according to what you want. Well, we don't want inches, we want centimeters. So that implies that 1 inch will be at the denominator, so the units can cancel out. And we know that 1 inch is equal to 2.54, so there is our conversion factor. And now all that's left is, remember, here, 1 second. The units cancel out. And now remember, we multiply numerators with numerators, denominators with denominators. So that means all we have to do then is what is 3 times 2.54? And 3 times 2.54, Hugo, is equal to 7.62. But again, centimeters. But again, we only need to round to 1 decimal place. So we end up having 7.6 centimeters. And again, please don't forget to write down any units if needed, because again, a number is nothing without its units, and this is kind of the whole point of what we're talking about. So that will be the last of our conversions for this semester. We're going to have one more video, which is a story problem, and that will be it for this week. Good luck.